This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Yes, here we go. Follow the Money. Paulie Howard, Mike Somich, live from Circa downtown, baby. Sirius XM channel 158. Big show coming up. We'll talk to Kevin Rogers with Prize Picks on some WNBA trends, K numbers, first five numbers. Tip jar is open. Mitch and Paulie's Pizzeria. Looking forward to that. Got some big tickets that have been sent in. We'll run them all down coming up. Tim Murray live from Hawaii to talk Stanford and Hawaii. And Brad Powers is back, baby. College football right around the corner. We'll go rapid fire with Brad. Everything week 0, everything week 1. Favorite win totals, Heisman talk. A couple tweets he had as well. Big show coming up. More action than a John Wick movie because Somich is here. Not next to me, but on the show. And I know we're going to get into horse racing and the Travers, and he's sending a ton of futures and fantasy talk. We got NFL preseason tonight. We got day baseball. This is awesome. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great, Paul. You're getting me hyped up here. We got a huge weekend at Saratoga with the Travers 5 or 6 grade 1 stakes out there, including a $2,000 contest that VSiN and First Bet are putting on. I can't wait to talk a little fantasy with you. You just pointed me to a 2,000-to-1 future that I didn't realize was even on the board that I'm looking forward to talking about a little bit later. We got preseason tonight. What more could you want, Paul? We got a little bit of everything.
You got it, baby. We're going to give out that 2001 in about 20 minutes. Looking forward to that. Mike also likes a horse in the 6th at Saratoga. Stay tuned for that one. We have a final already. The A's swept the Twins. Kurtz goes deep again. A's are playing good ball. And we mentioned yesterday during this streak, this 15 of 23 run that they're on, they're averaging almost 6 runs a game. They score 8 today. They take out the Twins 8-3. Good job by the A's. And the Dodgers now putting it on Colorado from the amazing but true department. Since the All-Star break, the Rockies 15-16, the Dodgers 14-16. So they're trying to salvage a split here in this 4-game set, Mike. 5-1 early in the third. It's Kershaw for the Dodgers as they have that huge series with the Padres on deck.
Yeah, it's crazy as we've seen the baseball season roll on. Some of these teams that have gotten hot. I mean, the A's were that darling early where they were frisky. Then we had the Marlins who all of a sudden ripped off a winning streak. And now Colorado is able to play 500 baseball. It seems like some of these teams that are a little bit younger, not quite the cream of the crop, still able to be competitive here later into the summer. And to your point on the A's, they're going to be a fun baseball team when they get to Vegas. Like, I love some of the young talent they have. Kurtz is going to win AL Rookie of the Year. That's just a team that I'm excited to see in a couple of years when they actually debut the stadium there.
Yes. In play, total 14.5. And you think the Dodgers could spit it up, take back 6-1 on the Rockies in play in that one. Dodgers batting now in the third inning. And Kansas City, after blowing a big lead, now Kansas City leads Texas 5-4 in the top of the 6th. They score 3 in the first last night. That was it. The bullpen blows it in the 7th. Vicious beat if you had the under. Texas gets 3 in the top of the 9th. So the Royals still in this mix here, only a couple games out of it behind the Red Sox. They didn't lose any ground with the loss, but Boston gets ready for the Yankees coming up. And how about Priester, Mike? It's 2-1 Brewers. This is a huge game. I mean, if the Brewers lose this, the Cubs would take 4 out of 5 in that series. And even though they had this long winning streak, they only have a 5-game lead in the division. But it's 2-1 Brewers, bottom of the 6th. Since May 30th, 10-0 with an ERA of 3. The last 14 times he's pitched, the Brewers are 14-0.
Priester's been awesome for them. It's one of those just revelations out of this Brewers staff that you weren't expecting at the start of the season. It's the reason why they are the hottest team right now in the majors. And you mentioned it, like, this is a huge series for the Cubs. They have delivered through the first 4 games, going to 3-1. They had to feel good about themselves. They had a Monga on the mound today. They had their best pitcher out there. If they were in there, they can keep clawing back on the Brewers. Despite that long win streak, it felt like you could make a race out of this in the NL Central. I think the Brewers just too deep on the pitching staff, so I don't want to get involved on the Cubs inside the division. But this is a Cubs team when the bats are hot, and they were hot early in the season. They were really carrying this team. They're frisky as well. I mean, this is, if you ask me which one I wanted to bet to win the NL, if I'm taking a future ticket here, give me the Cubs. If you want to know who's going to win the division, it feels like it's the Brewers.
Okay. You see runs in this game coming up with the Mets and Nats ready to go. It's Manaea against Gore. And he's been, last 3 starts, Manaea's got an ERA of 8. And the Mets have lost 15 of 20 now. And they keep losing. They are 0-8 in 1-run games since late July. This is right there for the Reds to take now. Another big game. I think I see runs here with 8 and how bad Manea's been.
Yeah, Gore has had some struggles for himself as well. He's had some pretty big blow-up games, too. I was surprised this was sitting at 8. I went to the weather to see if there was any wind blowing in or specifically solid pitching stats. There's not. This is one of those where, especially, first pitch just happened here, but if you want to jump on your app and you can get an 8, I don't mind the over here at all, especially since you're getting 2 starting pitchers that they don't mind blowing up. You can get a 4-run inning from either of these starters.
Yep, and you have 5 minutes to go until first pitch at Petco. It's Cease against Verlander. Verlander 1-9 on the season. Friars trying to take 3 out of 4. Cease was god-awful last time out against the Dodgers. The Padres are $2 against the Giants. That filthy San Diego bullpen. Verlander was good last time out. Hard luck loser in that one. Total of 8, though. Do you think there's runs in this game coming up?
I'm not playing the under. I don't trust Cease at all. And you mentioned Verlander. Yes, he was good in his last game. He has been not great prior to that. And so I would rather try and fade specifically Verlander here. You can get over 2.5 team total on the Padres' first 5. That's where I would specifically try and target this one. You can get plus money on it. And to me, going against Verlander is better than trying to fade both these. I'm never playing the Padres minus 200, though. That is way too big of a price as a favorite here with Cease on the hill.
Yep. Follow the money. VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Paulie Howard, Mike Somich. Okay, 2 games NFL preseason was huge moves. One I understand. The other one I don't get. See what you think, Mike. So Carolina opened a 3-point favorite against the Steelers. Pittsburgh's up to 6 at Circa and 5.5 at almost every other spot. Tomlin on a 41-27 straight up run in the preseason. Carolina is 0-2 in the preseason, outscored 50-13. No Bryce, no Dalton, so it's going to be Plummer and Bryce Perkins against, how long does Rudolph go? Probably Rudolph and Thompson, though. And that's, I agree with the move, is Pittsburgh's up to 6 in this game.
Yeah, this move makes a ton of sense. With the injury to Dalton last week, you knew you're not going to get anything out of Bryce Young this week. They have to be careful since your backup's hurt. And you look at the 2 quarterbacks they're going to play here, Plummer and Perkins, like, that's bad for preseason. Like, that's not even bad for regular. That's bad preseason quarterbacking. Yeah. Rudolph is getting the start for Pittsburgh. If I knew I was getting a half of Rudolph, I'd be interested in laying the first half with the Steelers. That's out there at minus 3.5 right now. Yeah. You can lay the first quarter with the Steelers at minus 1.5. That to me is tempting. I want to try and shorten this up. I always talk in baseball how I handicap pitchers. So a lot of times I'm playing first 5s. Well, in preseason, I can handicap the starters, how long they're going to be in. So I want to focus on that specific segment when I'm betting preseason games. I know I'm going to get at least a quarter of Rudolph. So if I want to play this move and play with the Pittsburgh side of this, I want to play first quarter on the Steelers when I know I'm getting Rudolph at quarterback versus when we move to Skylar Thompson or their 4th-string quarterback.
Okay, and this one as well. This one's getting carried away. This game's on Amazon Prime. DraftKings opened the Patriots 2.5. The Giants are up to 6.5. So they've scored 30-plus points in both preseason games. Dart's been awesome. But, my Giants source says they don't care. They're not playing anybody. They went for it last week because you have the short turnaround. You played the Jets on Saturday night. Now you got the short turnaround here Thursday. But I would showcase Winston here. Trade him to Dallas, whatever. Dart's been so good. He'll go Wilson, Dart, and then you got Tommy Cutlets. But still, everyone loves what they're doing in the preseason. They love that you go Wilson, Dart, Winston, DeVito. So Giants up to 6.5 here against the Patriots, and it's going to be a lot of Dobbs and Woolridge.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the move in a sense when you just look at the quarterbacks you're expecting to take snaps. It's big advantage toward the Giants. It feels like this move has gotten a little far away, though, right? If you told me that this is where you're going to move and we're going to see Giants minus 3, if we were going to see Giants minus 4, okay, I can get behind that because of the quarterback play. But no one is playing for the Giants here. They're going to have their 2nd and 3rd string wide receivers out there to start the game. You're going to get to 4th and 5th by the end of the game. You don't have the starting offensive line. You don't have the starting running backs. A 6.5. That kind of got away from it here. I would, again, be focused in here on the first half. If you want to play the Giants, reduce the number, see if you can find a 3 out there. But the full game, 6.5, it just feels like for what we're going to get in the second half of this game, I want no part of.
Can you sneak in a pick at race 6 at Saratoga in 2 minutes?
6 is off already, so we'll have to go to race 7 at Saratoga. We got 27 minutes till that one, so we'll give out a race 7 Saratoga in the next segment.
All right, sounds good. Damn, what was okay? For what it's worth, so I don't forget. And this is I don't mind a bomber here. In race 8, Good Night, God Bless is 20-1. I think 20 starts, Mike. 9, a couple firsts and a couple seconds, but they were poor tracks, so you kind of poo-pooed it.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, so the 8-horse Good Night, God Bless, 20-1 in the 8th race, 18 career starts, 4 win, 5 seconds, 1/3. So Love's running well and running hard, but has done most of the winning at Finger Lakes and Laurel, which are 2 lower-level racetracks when you compare it to Saratoga. Staying at the same class level last time, ran 4th in that race. Not completely, it's 20-1.
Yeah.
I'm never going to talk you off a 20-1 horse. Not a horse that really caught my eye, but again, at 20-1, crazier things can happen. I do like the 3 quite a bit. Lemon Muffin in that spot, 4-1 on the morning line. This is a horse that was in grade 1, grade 2 competition last year, was in the D. Wayne Lucas barn, and he, unfortunately, RIP D. Wayne Lucas, a Hall of Famer, absolute superstar in our sport. He is not a trainer I love to bet. He's the Lemon Muffin switching over to the Rudolph Brissett barn, a trainer I do love to bet. Gets a big jockey upgrade today as well with Flavian Pratt coming aboard, and I like the price of 4-1, so I'll be playing Lemon Muffin in the 8th.
Very good. We'll talk about the 7th race coming up in a second. Clock's ticking. Week 0 on Saturday. NFL just weeks away. Get VSiN Pro. Lock in your edge. New subscribers. Instant access. Both our college and NFL betting guides, team previews, power ratings, betting systems, best bets. The morning email from Bill 80. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The betting splits. The betting systems from Mackinnon. The prop analyzer. The dog videos. Full access to the tools, data, and pro systems. $9.99. Wake up. Let's go. VSiN.com/subscribe. More picks and some good futures and props from Samich coming up on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Go inside Mama's Pizzeria coming up in 15 minutes. Get your tickets in. Email ftm@vsin.com or tweet as well. All your long shots, your creative parlays. We'll get to that. And then we talk Week 0 and Week 1 college football with Brad Powers in half an hour. Paulie Howard, Mike Samich, Mitch back on Monday. It's time for Kevin Rogers. Joins us now from Prize Picks at Rogers Picks on X. He's on the Progressive guest line. Eclectic mix here as we get a little. There's a Malinsky special in the WNBA, which we'll get into coming up. We'll start with baseball. How you doing, Mr. Rogers?
Paulie, Mike, good to talk to you.
You got it, my friend. Let's start with the big one with the Yankees and Red Sox. You have some good numbers here, first 5, and some K props. Run us down here as now the Yankees have jumped Boston in the standings, and it's 7 meetings left. Giolito against Heel. What do you have?
Yeah, Paul, first with the Yankees, a 6-0-2 run the last 8 games in the first 5 innings, and we saw how well they played against the Rays those last 2 games in Tampa. And Boston, who was playing very well, they've gone backwards, 3-7 in the first 5 in the last 10 games. And as far as the strikeout props in this game, Lucas Giolito, 4-1 to the under his last 5 starts on a strikeout prop, and that works out well to hit an under because the Yankees, when they face or their opposing pitchers facing the Yankees in the Bronx, 6-2 under run. So look for Giolito. I know the under is juiced. It's like minus 140 or so, but it would point to Giolito not getting a lot of strikeouts tonight.
It says head a little further down south on the East Coast. The Astros taking on the Orioles down in Baltimore. We've got Alexander on the hill for the Astros, Young on the hill for the Orioles. Orioles are a slight favorite here right now, minus 125, coming back plus 105 the other way on the Astros. And you're again looking first 5 and Ks here.
Yeah, Mike, first of all, with this Brandon Young who's starting, he no-hit the Astros for almost 7 innings his last time out, and they just played in Houston. So we'll see what happens now the second time around he's facing them. And Paul knows how bad the Astros offense has been. 2-5-1 run in the first 5 innings. The last 8 games, they've been shut out 5 times in the first 5 innings in that span. And Baltimore's played better in the first 5. 8-3-1 run the last 11 or 12 games, rather, in the first 5. Now, as far as Brandon Young, he had 6 strikeouts against Houston last week on a 3.5 total. Tonight's up to 4.5. So you kind of wonder, Will the Astros offense finally get going? Opposing pitchers 6-1 to the under the last 7 against the Orioles. But Mr. Alexander, Jason Alexander, not Costanza, he's starting for Houston tonight. 3-1 to the over on his last 4 starts on K-props. He's had 6 strikeouts 3 times. So maybe that streak comes to an end because Alexander's actually pitched well when he's taken them out for the Astros.
Excellent. We got Cardinals in Tampa tonight. They tinkered with the schedule because of the Bucs preseason game. I want Sonny Gray at home, not on the road. What do you have with Sonny Gray here against the reeling Rays?
Yeah, kind of a funky spot here, Paul. Like you mentioned, Thursday, Friday, Sunday series for these 2 teams. And Sonny Gray, great at home. On the road, he's led once in the first 5 innings. Only in his last 5 road starts, just once through the first 5 innings. So he's had some struggles, and some of them not his fault. Some of them they trailed 1-0, 2-0. It's just not getting any offense. But on the flip side, the Rays, after that very long road trip, and they didn't play very well against the Yankees, 2-5-3 in the last 10 games in the first 5 innings. They've been shut out in 3 of the past 4. So you wonder now if they get turned around. But again, no rest for the weary for this team. If they lose those 2 to the Yankees, now they turn back around with St. Louis. The Cardinals, not as long of a trip coming from Miami to Tampa, so maybe it benefits St. Louis. And we'll see if Gray can get back on track, but not strong numbers for either of these teams.
Yeah, Saturday's game shifted to Sunday so that there's room for the Bucs-Bills preseason game. So you've got preseason football, moving regular season baseball around, tells you which sport is king there in the viewer's eyes. Let's head over to the WNBA. We've got Minnesota taking on Atlanta, the Lynx heading into Atlanta to take on the Dream. And this is a interesting spot for the Dream here.
Absolutely, Mike. With Atlanta, first of all, in the first quarter, they are the best team in the WNBA. They're 23-12. So they have gotten off to very good starts in these games. However, this is their first game back at home since August 3rd. They played 6 in a row, including 1 in Vancouver. They played 2 with Seattle, 1 in Seattle and 1 in Vancouver, and they went to Golden State, and they went to Vegas at the end and lost. So it's been a very long road trip for the Dream. And now they're back home to face a team with the best record in the WNBA, the Minnesota Lynx. And I want to give you guys this number on the Lynx. They trailed the Liberty after the first quarter in Tuesday's loss. The next game, after the Lynx trail after the first quarter, they are 10-1-1 straight up and 10-2 against the spread in the first quarter. So Minnesota usually gets off to better starts after a poor start in the previous game. And the top scorer in the league, Naficia Collier, we'll see if she comes back tonight. She had an ankle injury. There's rumors questionable, may not play, who knows. But regardless, Minnesota could be worth a look just because Atlanta back at home, it's been a long time for them.
You're damn right. That's a big-time Malinsky special. Good information. The Chicago Sky are a complete abomination. What's going on? They've dropped 14 of 15. I got a prop I'll give you on this game in a second. But Angel Reese is back in the lineup. What does that mean for the offense in the first quarter with the Sky, Kevin?
It's a little bit weird, Paul. You would think that her being back, that would mean more defense, but really it's not the case. That the Chicago Sky, when she came back the last game against Seattle, it was another over in the first quarter, which is now 5 in a row that she has played in, where we've seen the over hit in the first quarter. And in the previous 7 games that she was out, the under was 5-2. So figure that one out. That she was out of the lineup. You had slower starts. When she's in the lineup, it's been faster starts. And in fact, in the last few, it's not crazy overs. You had 40 points in the Seattle game 2020. You did have a 30-27 game against Washington, but also 24-18. So some of them are not really crazy numbers, but at the same time, Chicago facing a New York team. I wonder with New York here, kind of an interesting spot here, guys, just because they're off a few games against the Liberty in that WNBA Finals rematch. Do you get up for Chicago here as a heavy favorite? So it should be curious to see how the Liberty respond tonight.
That's a 4-point move in that game as well. It opened 11. Quid pro quo. Reese prop points is 13.5. She's gone over that 11 of the last 12. So this whole thing about, the me-bounds and she's a rebounding machine, she's getting hers. And I know she was hurt for a while, but we're going back here. 11 of the last 12, she's gone over 13.5, which she's priced at tonight. Now, the question is, do they get blown out? That's the one thing you have to worry about. They could lose by 20 tonight. I mean, they're getting killed every single night other than that fiasco where they scored 38 points and came through the back door of the last game. But that's wild. What do you have on the Washington-Connecticut game?
Oh, you'll like this one, Paul. So Washington is a slight favorite against Connecticut tonight. They just lost to Connecticut 2 nights ago at home. But here's something I dug up, though. 5 times this season, the Mystics have been a road favorite. In those games in the first quarter, listen to this, the amount of points they've scored. 10, 9, 11, 14, and 13. And they've gone under all 5 times in the first quarter. For whatever reason, they've stunk in the first quarter as a road favorite. Road dogs have actually been decent, but a road favorite, they just don't show up in some of those games. So maybe look for a lower scoring game with the Mystics and the Sun. Also, Washington, lowest percentage from three-point land in the first quarter this year, 27.7%. So they can't shoot the ball, and they don't score on the road as a favorite. So look for an under in the first quarter with the Mystics and the Sun.
We've got the pizza jar segment coming up here in a second. And one of the bets on the pizza jar segment that I'm not sure about, that I want to ask you about, Kevin, here, is specifically this Indiana Fever team and whether or not they're going to make the playoffs. Do you like the Fever to make or miss the playoffs? So I know how to answer this pizza jar bet here in the next segment.
I think, Mike, they can make it. I don't see Caitlin Clark coming back anytime soon. There were reports that she tweaked an ankle, and I got to think she's just not healthy. But they're 19 and 16. I know they lost Sophie Cunningham. She had a knee injury the other day, so they're running out of players quickly. But also, when you just look at just the rest of the league, even the Eastern Conference, the teams below that, like New York and Atlanta will be in. Chicago's out, Connecticut's out, Washington's a few games under 500. Just Indiana's just built up enough equity at 19 and 16. I think they get in as long as they can tread water the rest of the way. I think they end up getting in. I don't know how far they can go, but they've done enough without Caitlin Clark to probably get in.
Do you have any strong K props you want to give out? That some trends and numbers before we get out of here in less than 90 seconds, please.
As far as team props, Paulie?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'll give you a couple here. Number one, the Seattle Mariners are back home tomorrow against the A's. Opposing pitchers 8-2 to the over in the last 10 games. And what Seattle has done against opposing starting pitchers recently, 12, 12, and 10 strikeouts in the Phillies series. Now, granted, those were all left-handed pitchers they were facing. They get a righty coming up tomorrow when they take on the A's. But also the Mets heading into today, opposing pitchers 13-5 overrun when facing the Mets. Also, we have a new leader as far as strikeouts against opposing pitchers. The Los Angeles Angels at 733. They passed the Colorado Rockies. So the Angels, they have been on a 15-6 overrun with their strikeouts. And on the flip side with Colorado going into today, they were on a 9-3 underrun. They went under against Ohtani last night. They've been a little bit better with the strikeouts. The Rockies, the playoffs started today, and they would have the standings from 2 weeks ago. They'd be in. But the whole season got to be in, so it wouldn't really matter. But
you got it.
They've been a little bit better, though, of late.
Great information. Thanks for a few minutes, and we'll catch up soon. Well done, sir.
All right, Paul, Mike, thank you so much.
Kevin Rogers, Prize Picks at Rogers Picks on X. The response has been incredible. People can't wait for these contests. I love what Humans does on Friday night. Think you're better than the experts? Prove it in the Edge Boost Average Joe contest. Same format as the Circa Friday Football Invitational, but contestants are average Joes instead of the pros. Free to play. Register anytime throughout the season for weekly and quarterly prizes. The grand prize, a spot in next year's field of the Circa Invitational. Sign up now, vsin.com/Joe. vsin.com/Joe. Free to play, weekly and quarterly prizes, and you get a spot next year's field. It's awesome. The reaction's been fantastic. vsin.com/Joe. Pizzeria! Pizza bets coming up next on Follow the Money.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, welcome back. It's go time. Week 0 college football. Got some games to talk about Saturday. Lines continue to move week 1, and the great Brad Powers joins us now on the Progressive Guest Line. BradPowersSports.com at BradPowers7 on X. He's with Covers.com. He has an incredible newsletter, and his season preview's phenomenal. And get that newsletter and subscribe as well that he sends out every single week. How you been? I hope you had a good summer. What's going on, my man?
I did. We're here. It's finally here for college football, though. It's always here for me. I'm always studying it, but finally some games. I'm actually going to be week 1's great. Week 0 is great. But as a bettor, I'm already looking forward to week 2, a different set of games and a different board.
Mm-hmm. Hey, how about the breaking news? The SEC will go with a 9-game conference schedule starting next year. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's next year that they're doing it, and on top of it, they're recommending that they have to play one, power conference team in the non-con, so 10 legit games. Where some of these schools were only playing 8, maybe 9 a season, so an extra tough game for a lot of schools. It probably hints at probably we're getting an expanded playoff. But I guess with the new college football playoff requirements, factoring more strength of schedule, they really leaned into it for the SEC. It means I think we're going to get some 9-3 teams in the playoff.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw your tweet too about it took 100 years to get away from the polls to go to the BCS, and then it took 12 years to go from the BCS, and now the Big Ten says, how about a 24-team playoff? What the hell's going on?
Bracket creep. I mean, they're smelling that money, but I just be careful what you wish for. I mean, games just, a lot of the games then during the season don't really matter. So, it would have been nice. I think college football would be more interesting if Ryan Day, the Michigan game, cost him, instead of they got that other chance. They won the title. I just think, you're talking about a difference in just 1 year's time. We're talking Ryan Day would be on the hot seat, or, compared to being a defending champ, that's how much has changed. Going to a 12 team, I can only imagine going to a 24 team. I don't want to see 8-4 Iowa in the playoff. No disrespect to Iowa. Hell, I moved back to the Midwest. I'm nothing against the people there, but again, I don't want to see mediocre football come postseason.
Yeah, totally agree.
That was always the beauty of college football, is that every single Saturday mattered, that you had to show up. You had to win those football games. If you expand out to 24, you have 7 Big Ten teams. Minnesota would have made the playoff? Do we really need to see Minnesota in the playoff? And I get the idea of loving those home games in the playoff and the atmospheres that you got, but we always knew the atmosphere was going to be better if you played those playoff games at home versus at neutral sites. So ridiculous you're seeing the creep. Do you think the SEC, this move to 9 games next year and having the one out of conference game, is it all a response to having that expanded playoff if you do go to that 2014 playoff, or do you think this was coming down the line either way?
Probably coming down because, probably ESPN's pushing it and you want another conference game as far as, an extra more money in their pockets. So I think there was something to do with that, but I think certainly an expanded playoffs. And if they're factoring in more strength of schedule, then maybe we do see like a 9-3 Alabama getting over an 11-1 in Indiana, if that's what we're going to factor in. But I'm not really for it. I just look, extra games to bet. Sure, I'll bet them as a bettor. But as a fan, I'm out, because just imagine this. Imagine how big, week 1's pretty big, but imagine how bigger it would be in the BCS era. The Texas-Ohio State game would be everything. Everything's on the line in week 1. That's what I loved about college football. There was a sense of urgency every single week. Your life was on the line. I like having that sense of urgency.
Okay, to week 0, we start with Farmageddon. We're going to Ireland. Kansas State 3-51. What do you think of the game to start the season?
Haven't bet it yet. There hasn't been too much movement, although there was a little bit of move on the over. I'm going to fade that move, especially in the first half. So if 24.5 under first half, not a best bet, but a bet that I'm willing to make. I think it's a slow start. Both teams familiar with one another. Iowa State's, own the series. They've won 4 of the last 5. They've covered 5 in a row. But I think both teams have a little bit of question marks. Both quarterbacks don't take care of the football great in their history. Avery Johnson had a couple of 4 interception games last year. We'll see if he's improved. Rocco Beck's thrown 7 pick sixes in his career. So whatever quarterback takes care of the football, ultimately is going to lead to the winner here. My power rankings say it should be 3. Line's 3. Pass on the side.
Second game to kick off here is going to be the UNLV Running Rebels, who have some expectations this year, taking on Idaho State. UNLV laying 26.5 right now in this one. Total sitting right around 65.5, depending on where you look. Do you have anything here, Brad?
I didn't. I'm glad that they posted it several days in advance, though. So kudos for the books for doing that. I do power rate FCS games. I made it 27.5, so I thought it was a very good number. I mean, there was some early like 23.5s out there. A lot of uncertainty with UNLV. Entirely different roster, a talented roster, but a lot of these guys, a lot of talent, but they haven't necessarily produced at the college level. I like the Dan Mullen hire for now. Certainly going to be more offensive driven. You're going to play multiple quarterbacks. So I think that actually, is good for the over, good for if you want to back the favorite because both quarterbacks are going to, impress. But I couldn't get to the window.
Okay. Western Kentucky opened 7.5 up to 10.5 against Sam Houston State. Total of 61. What do you think of this one here as Longo takes over for Sam Houston?
I got a big power ratings disparity here.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was week 4, week 5, and I had a little bit better grasp on both rosters, keep in mind, obviously Sam Houston State, new coach, entirely, unknown commodity, but Western Kentucky too, new offense coordinator, new quarterback. I liked that combo, but they only have a couple of returning starters on the entire team. And they, 44 transfers with 17 post spring. I got a big power ratings disparity. I'll make a bet on Sam Houston State plus 10.5, but not a big one. I typically would just because it's week 0 and I don't know yet.
Fresno State taking on Kansas. Right now, you can get Kansas anywhere from 12.5 to 13-point favorites in the market. Game opened at 14, so we've seen a little bit of Fresno State money in this spot. Kansas has some expectations in the Big 12 this year. What do you make of this game? And do you think those expectations of the Big 12 are something that could come to fruition?
Yeah, here we go. We got a bet here. If I had to make one bet, and I have made this bet, if I had to make one bet on week 0, it'd be Kansas. I'm going to fade the move for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm not a big Matt Entz guy, the new Fresno coach. He won 2 national championships at North Dakota State. Hell, we could win a national championship at the FCS level coaching North Dakota State. And I just think it was interesting. His final year there was 2 years ago because he was at USC last year coaching linebackers. They lost 4 games. It was their worst season in over a decade there. What happened when he left? Right back in business, winning the national championship at North Dakota State. Finally got over the hump. They couldn't beat South Dakota State for several years. They beat them not once but twice last year. So I'm not buying him. What I am buying on the Kansas side is the new remodeled stadium. They haven't had a home field advantage for several years. Didn't even play home games last year. They had to go to Arrowhead and play in a soccer stadium. So I think a refurbished stadium that really has the fans pumped up there, I think it'll be good at least for one game. And then I go back to my power ratings. I made it over to 14, in fact, closer to 17. So that'd be my best bet here, Kansas, week 0.
All right, excellent. You'll be sticking around for another segment. We'll get into week 1 and all the line moves that's happened in the summer as well. Brad Powers on the Progressive Guest Line with Covers.com, BradPowerSports.com. The late game, this is big. I mean, Hawaii's got to win this game as far as I'm concerned. Everyone's watching. It's on CBS. You're taking on everything's going wrong for State. Fire the coach. You got Reg coming in. Lux the GM. They were awful last year. Game open 2.5 with Stanford. Now Hawaii laying 2.5. Total of 50. They haven't won a game against a Power 4 opponent since 2019. What do you think of the game on CBS?
Yeah, it's another one where I'm actually looking to fade the move. I'm not there yet. You know what number I'm looking to get. I think we might eventually get there.
Yeah.
And that I'm looking to bet Stanford plus 3. I'm not buying it yet on Hawaii. I do like the new quarterback, Micah Alejado, although, he did play against one of the worst defenses in the country in his lone start last year in New Mexico. A lot of expectations, though. It kind of reminds me, these two teams played in week 1 a couple years ago to open up the season. All the money on Hawaii. Uh-huh. They almost beat Vanderbilt in week 0. And Stanford in the first game under Troy Taylor was able to beat Hawaii by 13, even though we had like a 7-point line move in the game. So I'm not calling for that, but I tend to think if we get to 3, I'm going to have a pretty decent bet on the Cardinal.
Okay, very good. That's a great way to start the action on week 0. We could roll on with Brad Powers coming up next. Some win totals he likes, Heisman talk, maybe some surprising quarterback news and situations, biggest line moves from the summer as well, and some differences with his power ratings. And it continues. We got a game Thursday afternoon that continues to crash next Thursday. Goes off at 2:30 Pacific. We'll talk about that coming up as we roll on here on Follow the Money. Paulie Howard, Mike Somich, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. MLB scores as well coming up, and we'll roll on with Brad Powers' Rapid Fire. One more segment coming up.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Jacked up, ready to go. Preseason continues tonight in the NFL. Week 0 coming up Saturday. Big one on CBS. Matt Humans and Tim Murray are out there. They'll be on the early morning coverage here on VSiN for Week 0 and getting you ready. And they're out for Stanford and Hawaii. And the beautiful setup. I'm jacked. But the band is on the field. The band starts playing. We got a great setup here with Tim Murray. Can we get him in? Yeah, it looks great. If the band cooperates here and he's live from Honolulu. How you doing, sir? Looking good.
I'm great. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to hear me. We're trying to work through the technical difficulties here. The band is not cooperating. But, yes, we are here at the Ching Complex. We're ready to rock and roll for tomorrow's show, man.
Looking good, sounding good, feeling good. I know you're high on this quarterback, the Bishop Gorman kid. Timmy Chang loves him. What do you think on Alejandro and what he did against New Mexico, and if can carry over and Hawaii can have a good season?
Yeah, I mean, look, the run and shoot offense is what this Hawaii offense is predicated on. And Timmy Chang, I'm going to talk to him here in a little bit. I mean, this is a quarterback that he believes in, that he thinks is going to be the next great Hawaii quarterback. He is just a redshirt freshman, but you think back to that game against New Mexico, guys, over 450 passing yards, 50-plus rushing yards, the only quarterback in the FBS all of last year to accomplish over 450 and 50 in one game. So a lot of excitement. His top 2 receivers are back. It should be a lot of fun to see this offense in action on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a huge game down there on the islands as well. Hawaii not beating a power conference team in a very long time, trying to flip that trend over the weekend. We've seen this line start to push out now. A little more Hawaii love. We've gotten to -2.5 in some spots. What is your take on the game? Did you play the game? Did you bet it at all since you're down there?
Yeah, no, Mike, it was one of my first bets of the summer. Back in early July, I was able to grab Hawaii on the money line at +110. You know, obviously, as you alluded to, it is getting a little bit pricier now, out to around -125, -130. So it is expensive when you look at this Hawaii price right now. I still think there's so much uncertainty regarding this Stanford team with everything that unfolded with Troy Taylor getting fired in early spring and turning over to Frank Reich. So I still think Hawaii takes care of business, but obviously now you're paying a little bit of a tax, as you alluded to.
Well, I'm with you, and it feels like a Sal Pal game, too. Got to have it game. I mean, when does everyone get to watch Hawaii on CBS at 4:30 Pacific? And as Mike mentioned, all these issues haven't been a Power 4 opponent as well, and you got a star quarterback. Matt mentioned you had Matt Ensign studio in the summer. Where are you at with Fresno? What do you think of the Fresno-Kansas game?
Yeah, I think, Paulie, I look a lot at Kansas and what they've lost, right? A lot of their pass catchers are gone. We know that Jalen Daniels is back for yet another season, but you lose an NFL running back in Devin Neal. So for me, there's a ton of uncertainty, as you alluded to, regarding this Fresno State team. E.J. Warner is going to be making his 3rd stop in his collegiate career, as he will be starting for Fresno State. Started his career at Temple, went to Rice, of course, the son of Kurt Warner. But you look at both of these programs, I think they lost a lot. But the one thing that I am interested to see is just the extra juice for Kansas. Remember, last year, guys, they had to play away from home the entire year. A lot of their games at Arrowhead Stadium and in a soccer complex. Well, this year they're back after all the renovations have been done to the football stadium. So I think as the band gets fired up here, I think there's a lot of excitement regarding not only the band that is behind me, but also Kansas football and what that stadium will look like.
All right, my man.
Now, Tim,
Yeah, you want to try? You want to go ahead? You want to try?
we got to try. Hey,
Okay.
I love the environment. Look, there's a band behind it. It's live TV. You got to deal with this stuff, right? You got to enjoy it. It's a beautiful view too for anybody who's not or joining us on Sirius XM channel 158. And Tim, it looks like he is in heaven back there. He's got his sweet little hat on. Sun is shining. And Tim, let's talk about the first game here. Farmageddon going to kick off the college football season. 9 a.m. kick in the Pacific time zone here. Right now, Kansas State, a 3-point favorite over Iowa State. Two of the few programs that are actually returning the same quarterback that we saw from both of them last year. However, Iowa State loses both their wide receivers. Did you like anything in Farmageddon?
Yeah, for me, the Kansas State side is kind of the more side I'm looking at. Now that 3, I'm looking maybe to get in on a money line price potentially with Kansas State here. Avery Johnson, you think back to last offseason, guys, and the hype around Avery Johnson and what they expected from Avery Johnson a year ago. And now, coming into this, it feels like it's a little bit of a buy low opportunity on this K-State squad. On the flip side, you look at Iowa State, make it to the Big 12 championship a year ago, guys. But worth noting, 2 NFL wide receivers no longer on that roster. So while, yes, you bring back Rocco Becht, you're losing 2 1,000-plus yard receivers for Iowa State. So, for me, when I look at this game tomorrow in Dublin, or on Saturday in Dublin, I do think Kansas State would be the side that I would look at first. But at this point, guys, I'm just not in love with laying 3. I think another way to look at it, I did see a couple props out there. Avery Johnson, anytime touchdown, I think could be an interesting look. Plus 110, plus 105. So I think if I were to attack this game, it might ultimately be in the prop market, seeing if Avery Johnson finds the end zone with his legs.
Great job, my man. Looks fantastic. We'll be checking you out Friday and Saturday. Thank you for coming on.
Appreciate it, guys.
You got it. Tell them to play Enter Sandman. Ask them if they can fit that in as well. Samich, you're the guy who tries to get in on the highway. Can I sneak in? Do I got room? Can I get... The band is friggin'...
Hey, look. I love that. I love it. Look, you could tell the atmosphere there is great. The band sounded good, Paulie.
Yeah.
They sounded like they're in mid-season form. They're kicking some butt out there. And look, I want to hear Tim's opinion on Farmageddon. Got to get it in.
I know. That's a vicious beat. Why are they... The game's Saturday. Right? They don't have their act together by now. Thursday, they're out there trying some stuff out. The game's Saturday? Come on.
How many minutes do you think they practiced today? Maybe 45? And yet in that 45 minutes is when we're trying to do the 15-minute hit from Hawaii. I mean, that's a bad beat. Yeah. You got to put that one on tomorrow's show.
Yeah. That's a good question. How long? I didn't know. How long is band practice? I don't know. I have no idea. 90 minutes, you think? Is it every day?
I don't know.
Is it every other day? I have no idea.
I'm sure there is some form of practice every day, but when you're actually on the field, like it can't be that long that you're marching on the field.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it's like maybe you're in a room practicing, right? But like the actual marching part on the actual football field cannot be that long. It's hot there, man. Like you can't walk around with that instrument for an hour and a half.
Yeah. It's like you're always trying to do a stand-up or talking to somebody before an NBA game, and then the cheerleaders come out and they're doing their dance routine, and they're playing CNC Music Factory or something as you're trying to do the interview. Incredible. What's your best bet for week 0?
It's funny. He mentioned the Kansas State-Iowa State game. One of the reasons I wanted to ask about that, I like the 3 with Iowa State now. I'm taking the points with Iowa State. I like that Beck's coming back. I understand they lost both receivers, but they've got a decent group of receivers that are still there. And I'm just out on Avery Johnson. I mean, I fell for the hype last year. I had a Heisman ticket on him last year. And the more I watched him play, the less impressed that I was with him overall. Just we'll go with bonehead plays that you saw him make, some passes that were just unadvisable. He doesn't run early enough on some of the scramble plays for me. I think that you have to trust Beck here in the Iowa State side. And now that we're getting the full field goal, I think it's a good time to get in, Paulie.
Okay, this is wild. What's going on with this game a week from a week from Thursday? We'll be on the air at 2:30 Pacific with this Boise game. From 10 down to 6 now with South Florida.
Yeah,
I mean that's surprising how big. And who knows where this thing goes off as the money continues to come on the Bulls still.
Well, I thought I liked how Brad referenced this, right? The move from 10 to 7.5, I understood, right? Even down to 6.5, you can make sense with it. This is a road team who is favored. They're ranked, but you're going into an unranked opponent. You're playing in South Florida. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. It's going to be very different than the weather you have in Boise. And you would assume that you're going to see that Boise team, specifically in the second half, have some struggles just from a conditioning perspective. Man, at 6, it gets a lot harder, right? If this gets down to somewhere, let's say 5.5, 5, I'm probably going to bet Boise, just because that move is just a little too far for me. But I understand why the move from 10 to 7 happened. It's this one that we're seeing under 7 that's surprising.
You know, they were setting up. The crew did a great job. Beautiful view of the stadium, and then I didn't see the band. I think that's a vicious beat. I think they just came on there as he was ready. I didn't see the band behind them when we were getting ready. Clock's ticking. Week 0 college football this weekend. NFL just weeks away. Now's the time to get VSiN Pro. Lock in your edge. New subscribers get instant access to both the college football and NFL betting guides, team previews, power ratings, betting systems, best bets from our analyst, the morning email from Bill 80, every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, the market insights, the tools, data, systems, $9.99. Get in now or save 50% with an annual plan. VSiN.com/subscribe. I finished it yesterday. It's absolute madness. The 8-part documentary on the Cowboys with Jerry Jones. The episode with Michael Irvin. He gets caught with coke on camera. He gets caught in a hotel room with strippers and coke. The Dallas cop puts a hit out on him. He's on probation. He stabs a teammate with the scissors. It's unbelievable. Check out the Cowboys documentary on Netflix. Unbelievable. What we're betting in pocket coming up next.